What's going on, guys? Welcome back to ETHCC interview 3 of the day here with my boy Rahul from Connext. Connext is a really solid bridge and kind of cross-chain infrastructure protocol because they don't assume any new instances of trust. They don't count on any validator sets. They're truly one of the most decentralized cross-chain infrastructures in the DeFi space. And a lot of that has to do with what Rahul and the tech team has been cooking up. So excited to talk about Connext today, what you guys are doing with your cross-chain governance, the account abstraction toolkit, and a bit more of your cool features. So GM, sirs, welcome to Paris.
GM, thank you so much for having me here. This is cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. So let's just dive right into kind of the kind of bridge dilemmas that we've seen in the last couple of, really, I guess, since 2021. And recently we saw multi-chain, unfortunately, go down as well. So I guess just from a broad overview, what are some of the key trade-offs that we saw that some of these previous bridge protocols made that ultimately led to a kind of a demise? And, we'll just start there.
Yeah, so a couple things there. First of all, I think, like you said, like these bridges are adding extra trust assumptions onto the thing. Like the crazy thing is like how big the surface area for a bridge hack really is. Like you can see bridges when they get hacked, they take down entire ecosystems. Like not long ago, Nomad got hacked for like, I don't know, 200 million almost. And it took down 3 chains with it. Like Moonbeam, Evmos, Milkomeda, we were working very closely with Nomad at the time, but like that hack devastated those ecosystems because what happened? These ecosystems were relying on Nomad to be their fundamental bridge. And that's the problem is like bridges become such an integral part of new chain ecosystems because chains don't work without interoperability. That's like a real basic fact. So we have to get to a point where we're not adding these extra trust assumptions. We're doing more things. We're caring about security more to the point where we can actually make these safe. And I think the problem right now is that bridges are kind of competing on the wrong thing. Bridges are trying to run the entire stack. So they're trying to run their own security. They're trying to, have their own execution layer. Then they're trying to like own these token implementations. So they're saying, okay, we're going to be the ones that own this token representation so that all your tokens are bridged through us. And then that gets you in this scenario where then like all your assets are locked up in this one bridge fails, then everything is bust, So we're really trying to break it out. That's why we've come up with this term around like modular execution layer. So we're breaking it, the different pieces of the bridge out. So we're not adding extra security assumptions. We're leaving that to others. So, whether it's a canonical bridge, whether it's some optimistic verification model, whether it's like, what we're excited about in the future is things like ZK-based storage proofs and things that can really make the whole messaging layer extremely secure. And then what we do is we just plug our execution layer on top and add the ability for developers to do cool things with this infrastructure.
Yeah, I think that's the key part with Connext, right? Is using the canonical bridges or the native bridges to these ecosystems. And we recently just had a podcast with Brian from Layer Zero Labs, and he was saying that, and Max was telling me this too, that the majority of the volume that they're seeing right now is between rollup to rollup, basically through Arbitrum to Optimism, et cetera, ZK Sync, et cetera, et cetera. And the key thing here with Connext is that using those native bridges, that's about as secure as it gets to the base chain, to Arbitrum, to Ethereum, right? You're not assuming, like you say, any trust assumption of a different protocol or a different team. And that kind of goes into the ethos of what you guys have been building this entire time. I feel like you guys are very aligned with the decentralization, kind of crypto, trustless, permissionless ethos. Talk to us about kind of how that goes into your mindset when you're coding and when you're building cool shit.
Yeah, totally. So, like you said, just to touch on that point, it's crazy because when you go roll up to roll up, like the whole point of using a rollup is that you're secured by Ethereum. And that's the whole pitch of rollups. But then when these protocols use other bridges to bridge their tokens, then all their liquidity is tied up in that bridge. And they don't realize, but they're exposing their users to the entire risk of that bridge. So, that really has been the ethos of Connext, is how do we build this in a way where we don't add this extra trust assumption at all? And that factors into everything we do. We kind of like try to see where the space is going in like 10, 15 years, not just like this year, not just like the next couple months. How do we capture the most value and extract the most value? We're saying, okay, we're going to be in a situation where these things are going to be like fully decentralized. We're going to build public good infrastructure. We're not trying to like make as much money as we can right now. We're trying to build something that lasts for the next 10, 20 years. And that really is the ethos that feeds into everything we build. Like most recently, an example I'll give is this X token, XERC20 standard that we just came up with, and we announced as a ERC proposal a couple days ago, actually. So that was in wake of this multi-chain hack. We've been working on this for a while, but this kind of just accelerated the process because now we have people from multi-chain coming to us and they're saying, okay, well, multi-chain like destroyed our entire token. We need to like move off of it. Or some people got lucky and said, okay, I'm going to move off of this now. So, the real important thing about that standard is it doesn't lock you in. Like there's other standards like, Wormhole and like Axelar, Layer 0. They all have this like token, cross-chain token implementation, but it locks you into their bridge fundamentally. So we built this standard as an open standard that any bridge can plug into. So the token issuer will choose what bridges actually get to plug into their token, including canonical bridges, including native bridges, including Rollup bridges themselves. We're working with a lot of the Rollup bridges on this. But it kind of ultimately leads to an effect where the bridges are competing with each other on security, which is how you want it to be.
So based.
Yeah.
So based. Like,
so
it's
based.
like building the product that helps Connext as the kind of, let's say, like intellectual property idea owner or starter. But effectively, what does it do? It pushes the realms and the boundaries of higher security and better experience for all users.
Exactly. We don't want to think about this like what's best for Connext. We want to think about this like what's best for the users and give them the platform and the tools and build the infrastructure that will actually make users able to, be safe, operate in this decentralized world in a way that it works best for all of them.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about some of the main use cases of Connext that you guys are exploring and that we've seen in practice. We've got cross-chain governance, so basically being able to use Connext to put through DAO proposals and to execute on these proposals without having to have a multi-sig on 1,000 rollups when we get here. And I think, again, that kind of thought process goes towards building products that are going to be useful 10 years down the line, 3 years down the line, not just today. Sure, still today. There's already, I mean, by the end of the year, we'll have 8 or 10 prominent rollup ecosystems, if not, close to there already, maybe even 20, right? So that's big, right? Then we've got the kind of chain abstraction for dApps as well. And there's one more that I'm missing, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, we'll just
the XERC20 thing.
Okay, there it is. Yeah. So would love to hear more about kind of your thoughts on these two primitives and how you're putting them into action.
Yeah, definitely. See, you've done your research, so that's cool. The X governance stuff, yeah, it's super cool. Like the stuff you touched on, having a multi-sig on every chain. But the other important part there is having the DAO control on every chain, because like otherwise, if you're going to manage each chain individually, you have to have tokens on that chain. That means there could be like whales on one chain, but not another chain who are influencing proposals. So what we're trying to do there is like centralize that governance and allow these tokens on any chain to be able to have the same kind of governance power for any other chain. So it basically makes the protocol kind of like governable from any chain. And that's really what we're trying to get to there is like, the whole thing is about abstraction. I'll talk about chain abstraction next, but like, this is another part of that. It's like, how do you abstract the whole concept of even having different chains away from a user? Because that's really something that they shouldn't know about. So, that gets into the next part, which is chain abstraction. So basically what that is it's a toolkit that we've launched that allows dApp developers to basically make their dApp operate not care about where their users come from. So this dApp can be running on Polygon, let's say. Their users can be on Optimism Arbitrum. They just one click, they're automatically interacting with that dApp, and we abstract all the what asset they're coming from, what chain the app is actually on, and that whole process just becomes like a one-click abstracted process. So we'll be talking about that more during the week here, and we're onboarding developers onto it right now. The stuff is all here live on mainnet. So it's super
Yeah, it's
exciting.
awesome. Yeah, I think the governance one is very based because yeah, like you said, you can have manipulation happening across different chains as well as just the headache of having to have all these different multi-sigs as a team and also executing different proposals. It's almost like if in the USA government for some reason the every person who participated in the state voting and the county voting and the federal voting all had to do it like 10 times just to get all the same result because you're in different areas and then it's just mad. So very cool. And then on the abstraction part, I mean that's just like the biggest narrative of this next let's say 18 months is like so like the text here it's happening we're like ready, but how can we make it easy? How can we abstract these kind of intricacies away? And I feel like you guys are definitely kind of spearheading that initiative.
Yeah, and especially now the new narrative is like app rollups, rollup toolkits. So like, I think we know of at least 100 rollups that are going live before the end of the year. I think by next year we've said that we're gonna see like 1,000 rollups at
Dude.
least. So it's just like, okay, people are innovating on this. They're finding ways. They're finding reasons why they want to create new rollups. But it's just gonna destroy the user experience unless we have these kinds of tools. So that's really what we're trying to solve for here.
Yeah, I think that's where the chain abstraction tool comes in for dApps, right? Like any layer 2 dApp can basically use chain abstraction, and their users don't really even know. And it's such a seamless process. And then like the best thing here is like when you're talking to teams, right? This comes back to like the beginning to kind of loop our convo because I think Vitalik's going to get ready to speak here about 8 minutes, but. The idea of the ethos, right, of that decentralization, of that trustlessness, of that censorship resistance, it makes it easy to onboard some of these teams, right? It's like, look, guys, we know that you're scared of like some of these bridge incidents. Like we understand this, but like here's exactly why we built our architecture in this way, and here's the proof. And this tool is going to help your users have a much better experience. And so I could also see thousands of rollups in like an absolute mess and where there's a huge demand for that.
Yeah, totally. And I think, one thing we always like to say at Connext is not a company. Connext is a public good. It's infrastructure we're building. Like we don't want to compare ourselves to Apple and Google. We want to compare ourselves to Ethereum. So Ethereum is the ultimate public good. It was raised as a public good. There's no like protocol treasury. They're not making money and like some treasury like that. It's just launched. It's there and it's kind of running and it runs itself. And that's essentially where we want to get to.
Super based. So as we kind of wrap up, what's ahead here on the agenda? Let's say just for second half of this year.
Yeah, so we're really focused on our token launch. So we have the next token coming up. So this is the first step towards getting to that decentralized point. So we always want to get our DAO running. We want to decentralize everything. We want to involve as many external contributing parties as possible, have them all functioning through like a DAO-like structure. So that's really the next thing we're focused on. And of course, pushing these standards forward. Like we want to really make standards around which the community and other bridges, other interoperability protocols, chains, tokens, everybody gets involved in this process around like how do we make the world interoperable.
Yeah, it's super based. I'm going to Epic Layer 2 Day later today and ZK Day tomorrow. And I'm going to be connecting Max with Layer 2 dApps. So I'm excited to see that come to fruition. Also stoked about the token. I know that you guys are going to do it right and do it in a decentralized fashion. So keep building, man. And I appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much, man. This was great.